Welcome to Lift Your Leg. This is Monique Anstey from the Naughty Dog in Victoria, BC, author of As a Dog Thinketh.
And Jill Brown from Calgary, Alberta, the bag lady.
Thank you for joining me tonight, Jill. Tonight, we're going to talk about ways to prevent the good dog trainers from burning out. And we're talking about this because we keep talking about the bad dog trainers, those on Instagram that we make fun of. But what about the good ones? Because the good ones with feel and timing, they, for the most part, are going to be empaths. So they're taking on the emotions of the dogs and the clients that they're working with. So, how do we give tips to these people to prevent them from burning out? Because these are the dog trainers we need to keep hold of.
This actually makes me think a little bit of the veterinarians that are burning out.
Exactly.
And a lot of that is being caused by the public and their complaints, which some of them are valid for sure. But I heard somebody say something the other day that when a big company makes a mistake, it's not a big deal. It's brushed off and people don't think much about it. If you go into whatever Safeway or Walmart and buy something and you get charged incorrectly, it's not a big deal. You just go about your life. But if a small business wrongly charges you for something, then you blow up on social media and the small businesses get bashed and really get hurt by it.
I agree. So, my first point was, how do we protect each other from slander? So,
Well,
you
yeah.
nailed it. That's the first thing you thought of. So, people saying nasty things about you, because not everyone's going to love you, especially if you're honest. You are going to piss people off. You're going to offend them. They're not going to like what you have to say. That's the risk of being honest. Even if you're being kind and honest, sometimes there's no way to be kind and be honest because the truth is brutal. It's just the way it is. If you're going to be honest, how do you protect yourself from slander? Because there's going to be times that people are going to come after you.
I think your cohorts, everybody has to be willing to stand up for their cohorts.
I
So
agree.
when somebody is being beaten up over something that's not valid, people need to be quicker. People are really fast to sit behind a keyboard and post negative things and beat people up. They're not as fast to jump on there and stand up for the person that's being beaten up. And
Yep.
people need to be willing to risk that.
I have a funny story about this. When I not first started out, but I've been training for a while here, and there's a group here of women behind keyboards, we'll call them, who have lots of time. They decided to target me. And somebody said to them, "Why are you targeting little her and not this bigger business that's doing like real damage?" And the answer was, that person has lawyers. So we'll just go after her. They did. They went after me. I decided that if they wanted to talk and write about me, I could do it better. And that's how my first book came to be. So thank you to those mean, nasty ladies. They did me a massive favor.
Mhm.
So I think if you have something like that, take it head on. If they want to talk about you, talk about yourself. Use that opportunity to market yourself. Don't take everything on as a negative. Sometimes try and spin it into a positive. Because people talking about you is a good thing, even if they're
Yeah,
not talking nice, because
yeah,
at least people will remember your name. And that's important in
yep,
business.
absolutely. It's like bad advertising. When you
Yeah.
see a commercial that's horrible, you never forget it.
Yes.
I think this is something that the newer good trainers that are coming up will learn from, like to stand up for themselves and don't let it beat them down because people will go after the new people.
Oh, yeah.
And ones that are established like you, and I could name a whole bunch of different names and I'm not going to for fear of missing some, but the ones that are really well known will stand up for themselves and continue on. But the newer ones that are starting out, I think, get discouraged really easily and it's easier just to quit.
I have a couple of greener trainers that I've seen once or twice, and I've been helping them. And of those trainers, One of them is so talented. Oh my goodness, Jill, she's just unbelievable. She works for another company. She's training pet dogs. She's doing stuff with her own dog sport wise. And this girl is the next generation. She's super, super talented. Um, so I've seen her. There's another trainer that has seen her, probably more than that. But I can tell you, if anyone was to go after her on social media, I will speak up for her, like guaranteed. And I'm sure many of the other people that have seen her also will, because this girl is true, true talent. She's brilliant. Now, because she's young and green, she's going to make errors. Not that I've seen any yet, but we all make errors. So, of course, she's going to. And when she does, she will have people backing her up. So that also goes back to then get to know people in your business. Don't stay isolated if you're new and green. Go get help from other people. Go network in a way of, I'm green here, help me with my dog. Go to people that are better than you and earn your stripes, so to speak, because these people will become your number one advocates if the lions come after you.
Yeah. And don't burn bridges. Don't be that new person that comes out and is willing to say bad things about the established groups,
Yeah.
because that'll get you nowhere real fast.
Yeah. With this lady, we were doing a lesson, and I don't think I realized she was a dog trainer until close to the end. And she'd done something, and I'm like, what do you do for work? And then she told me that's how it should be. Like, she wasn't coming in there of, I am my own business and trying to impress me that way. She impressed me through her skill, and then I asked the right questions. That's how it should be, I
Yeah.
think.
Yep.
So here's a real question, and it's something we all need to be aware of. When we're working with people and dogs day in and day out, we need to know when we've lost our niceness.
Yes.
How do we know that? Though I catch myself, I do know that. I
You
can't
also
change it, but I do know it in that moment.
you also have people telling you.
I do. So for me, with my niceness, I need to take a break 1 week out of 5. I can work 5 weeks maximum, then I need a week off where I can still have my board and train dogs, but I need to not be doing any group classes, no privates, just me off schedule to rejuvenate myself, to
Yep.
find that niceness again. I can't keep going and going and going. I have to take a break. So I think that's something that must be scheduled in for dog trainers to keep you going, and probably vets too, and groomers.
Yep.
I can't speak on those professions because I'm not in that. But as a dog trainer, I need to switch gears every fifth week and
Well,
get an easier schedule.
people tend to feel like when they need an answer about their animals, they need it now. And they're angry if they can't get in touch with you on the weekend or when you've taken a week off or when you go away in the summer. They're angry if their vet doesn't get back to them right away. People need to step back and realize that not everybody is available 24/7.
We
Every
can't be, or we won't
everybody
last.
exactly. Everybody needs that time away and that needs to be respected.
You have to have boundaries. For me, it's a separate phone, it's a separate office. I don't have access to the office, which is so fortunate because if I'm tempted to go check emails on a Sunday, I can't without great effort. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
The phone number for the office is a completely separate phone number. It's wonderful once again.
Mhm.
And if you don't have that ability, have a separate cell phone and put it in a drawer. Have defined office hours. Otherwise, I remember before I had my darling Wendy in the office and I had to answer my own phones. I hated the phone, and it hasn't left me now. I still hate the phone. Having to pick it up because you're starving and then your survival depends on your performance on that phone call.
Yep.
And so I just ended up hating the phone and getting quite a bit of I hate this word nowadays, but anxious around answering the phone. Like I'd do pretty much anything I could to avoid it. And then I'd force myself to phone everyone back like one morning. And yeah, it wasn't good. Thank
Yeah.
goodness for Wendy. Never leave, Wendy, never leave. But boundaries are super important. Separate phone, a door you can close that phone behind so that you don't have to deal with people. Boundaries with clients, things like Facebook are a killer, private messages. I once had a client contacted me on a Sunday evening telling me she was euthanizing her dog the next day. And that just absolutely devastated my Sunday night, but in a way that I had no power to change anything. I was just being delivered this news. No matter what I said or did, Monday's events were going on regardless. It just wrecked my weekend for me.
Yeah. So why did you need to hear about it on Sunday night?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I said that to my client and she still hasn't talked to me to this day, and this was years ago.
Huh.
But what that did teach me was things like Messenger on Facebook. If you're not ready, you have no idea what a client is asking of you when they get you on Facebook or through one of the channels that don't have the boundaries there, like the office phone, the office email. Those all have boundaries around them. But
Yeah.
my personal Facebook doesn't. If I'm on, like this week, I'm on a week off. If clients are messaging me, I do not know what they're saying inside that message. Therefore, they are not being read.
Yeah.
Plain and simple, because I don't want to open it up to find out that they're euthanizing their dog tomorrow, because that
Yeah.
will destroy my week off.
Yeah.
So have boundaries around things like that. If you're not in a position to be able to deal with bad news, if you happen to hear it, don't read it. Leave
Yeah.
it. It can wait till Monday when you go back.
Yeah.
Boundaries are super important, and without them, you simply will not last. There's no way you will last because clients have emergencies. But when you're like me, like you have so many clients, so I could literally have an emergency every hour if I want to.
Yeah.
And I can't take that on and then still be useful for the dogs that I need to currently be helping.
Yeah. While I hate this about you, I will say it's a good thing for you from a business aspect. The no caller ID on your phone. Because
You
well, even if you do phone somebody to talk about something, they don't have your contact information. They can't just randomly start calling you. So if you can't have a separate phone from your business to your personal phone, at the very least, put that
But if they're
no caller
using
ID.
their phone number for business, it doesn't really matter. It's on the business card.
True. Yeah. So yeah.
Sorry, Jill, have another
Yeah.
drink.
I I haven't even had one, so I can't even blame it on that. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, well,
um,
that only works then if you have a work phone and a personal phone.
it does. It does. Was there something else on boundaries? Have clear defined office hours of when you're going to get back to clients so that your weekends aren't expected. Because I think everyone needs days off
Yep.
and you have to have that. You have to.
Yep. Yeah, just because you're a privately owned dog training business doesn't mean you can't have 9 to 5 hours.
Yep. I'm going to add to this, and we did touch on this one. Surround yourself with good people. We touched on it as people will come to defend you if you get torched in the square by the other people. But you need to surround yourself with good people. So I have around me the most amazing group of women. And is it all women? I do believe it is. They're my regulars. They've been with me for years, many of them. And they're amazing, amazing women. I love spending time with them. And I know they will bat for me. And they know at this point that I will them too. And I am there for them for their competitions and stuff like that. I want to know how they do. I am invested in them. But likewise, they're also invested in me. And I need these women. They're my safety. Everyone needs this. You need to have a safe bubble of people around you that want the best for you. You need to
You
have that.
you have to have that balance. You can't always be the coach and instructor. You have to have people that are interested in what you're doing as well, not just expecting you to.
I think of my good group of women, like Sheila and David care about me and what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Of my group of women, I'm going to say not so much because I am their coach. They do care,
yep.
but it's not the same as my training people that actually see Harry's progress and stuff like
Well,
that.
they still are vested in your successes and how you're
Yes.
doing. You're just not, because you're training a different sport, you're not training with them.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But there's still people that want to be there to support you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. They believe in me and they trust me.
Yep.
And they've been around for a long, long time at this point. So there's a lot of history there too. A lot of history, a lot of trust.
Yeah.
And that's needed. I need that safe group where if I slip up and say something I shouldn't have, I'm forgiven. They understand. We can never forget why we are working with dogs. And I think that's sometimes easy to, because I think sometimes if you work with enough dogs and people, you start to not enjoy working with dogs and people.
Absolutely.
So always remember why you were working with dogs and take enjoyment out of the progress that you make with dogs.
Yep.
You have to still enjoy the journey with every single dog and client that you're working with. And if you're not, then maybe it's time to fire some clients.
Yeah. Because it's really no fair to the ones that want and need your help if
Yep.
you're just getting frustrated by the ones that aren't
Yep.
pulling their weight.
With teaching private lessons, there's clients that take from you. All clients take from you. And that's, I'm giving a service. So they're supposed to take from me.
Yep.
But there's clients that drain you and then clients that revive you
Yep.
in the process of a private lesson. Be very cautious in the number of clients you have on your weekly roster that are takers because they will leave you with nothing. If you can find out which clients are, and you'll know that after the first lesson. There's some privates I leave and I just have a skip in my step afterwards. And there's other privates I leave where I'm like, I need a 3-hour nap. I'm done. I have
Uh,
nothing left. Know who is who. And I will still take the clients that make me need to have a 3-hour nap. I will take them. But I'm careful on the ones that I take. And not every private can be that way. Like if they're continuously like that for a year, yeah, you're going in group classes now.
yeah.
You're done.
Yep.
I'm okay with 1 or 2 like that, and it does depend. Sometimes I'm okay with more than that. Just take them on knowingly and consider that in your schedule, because those are the ones that burn you out
Um,
fast.
make sure those ones are balanced with the ones that
You
put
need
the skip in your step.
exactly, you need the uplifting ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How do we know when we've become jaded?
I think that's just a matter of looking at yourself and listening to yourself. If you're to the point where everything that's coming out of your mouth is negative
Huh,
and you're not seeing the positives and the advances that people are making, all you're seeing are the mistakes they're making,
then you're jaded.
then it's time to, yeah, time to make a change.
Okay.
Take some time off or do something, but yeah.
I think ways to prevent that are I compete in a sport that has nothing to do with my business. So I used to compete in competition obedience and I taught competition obedience group classes. And through the process of teaching the group classes, I ended up hating competition obedience. So then I switched to a different sport of IGP, and I do not charge for IGP. So the people I help there, I help them for free. That way I there's no expectation on me in competition. I can bomb if I want, and my weekly paycheck has no effect on bombing.
Right.
So there's no pressure on me in my sport other than pressure that I want to put on myself. I think the process of just taking money for something that you love changes what you're doing. So I have decided in my sport that I just won't take money. And that way I only help the people that I want to help, which leaves my sport for me. My sport hasn't been taken away from me and turned into a business, which is very, very important. But in the process of all of this, what I was trying to say was within my sport, to keep myself fresh, happy, nice, not jaded, I will train with the best that I can train with. And by the best, I mean dollar amount of who I can afford and where I can get to. I'll fly to Germany, I'll go to Oregon, and I'm going to go work with the best that I'm able to work with at my current skill level. And being around those people, I just got back. So being in a clinic like that around people that are your peers, training with someone that's way better than you are, it's so uplifting and inspiring. It's amazing like what it does for your mental health. It's so good to see progress with your dog, to be around other people as crazy as you are. Like, this is your tribe. These are your people. You need to
Yeah.
go and spend time with your people. And it's going to mean traveling a great distance and paying a lot of money. But hey, isn't that why we're doing this in the first place?
Yeah. We're not in it to make money. If we are, we need to open our eyes.
We are so lucky that we get to train dogs, and just being able to take off and go train with top people for a few days, it's an amazing experience. And everyone needs to be doing that so that we don't become jaded and nasty and we can still stay fresh and current.
Yeah. Yeah. You need to be able to recognize that in your tribe, as you put it.
Yeah.
If it's not, if you're not getting from your training group what you hope to get or need to get,
Go find somewhere that will give you what you
and
need to get.
yeah, exactly.
Don't sit back and complain. Go get it. Go find it. Go
Hmm.
pay for it. And then you'll find your people. Go find them. They're there. You're not the only crazy one out there. There's a whole lot more like you. You just haven't found them yet.
Oh, that's true. To the public that is listening to us that aren't trainers, just because you've heard something from your trainer that you don't like, or you hear it or you see it doesn't work for your dog or doesn't sit right with you, that doesn't mean that you should go and try to ruin somebody's reputation or business, right?
Very well said, yes.
And you can tell me something that I don't want to hear. Maybe you suggest I do something with my dog that doesn't sit right with me. I don't have to do that. My choice. But it doesn't mean that I need to go on social media and beat this person up and ruin their business because they said something I didn't want to hear.
And another thing too, and I'm saying this because I am that person, like some of the suggestions I give people seem so far out there that they look at me like I'm crazy.
Hmm.
But I know what I'm doing. So ask. Just
Yeah.
say, this seems completely irresponsible. Why would you tell me to do this?
Yeah.
And then I can tell you my mad reasoning.
Yeah. And
And
it's
you'll probably agree with me by the time I'm done.
and if not, ultimately it's their choice. It doesn't mean they should go home and pull out their computer and bash you to the dog training world. I mean,
Agreed. And also, there has to be 28 ways to train that same dog. So you're ditching my number one way. All right, let's go to method two or
yeah.
method three. or method 4. There's so many other ways. Like, this isn't the end of the world here. If you're uncomfortable with doing this, all right, let's find something else.
Well,
There's another way.
and I think that's a big thing is people need to have the backbone to stand up to their trainer, whoever they're working with, and say, I'm not comfortable with that. It took
Yeah.
me a lot of years to be able to do that. In the beginning, I would do what I was told, and then I would go home and feel horrible because it just wasn't something that felt right to me.
Yeah.
Once I got to the point where I would say, I don't think that's going to work for my dog, or I'm not comfortable doing that, there was always another suggestion.
Yeah.
I didn't have the opportunity to come home and then slam somebody all over social media,
Yeah. It's become poison. We just need to all move away from that.
right?
And I actually think now, if I'm seeing those slammy type posts, it says more about the poster than it does about the person they're talking about.
Yep.
My next one, and funny because the person who told me that I needed to do this podcast is a person that I've known now for several years and love having dog training conversations with him. And I said to him the other day, "You're feral." And I think becoming feral is part of the survival. You have to know when to disappear, when to get away from the public eye, just go in your hole, regroup, get your bearings again, then come back out.
Yep.
You need to know how to hide from people, how to run from people. Otherwise,
There-
they'll just keep taking from you. The feralness is a good protection to keep
Yep.
you going.
You need to know how to retreat,
Yep.
hibernate, be
Yep.
like a bear.
Yep. You have to become harder to reach. Don't let everyone be able to get you all the time, or they will, and you'll have nothing left.
Yep.
And they don't intend to. They will just have emergencies. And if you're there, they'll just keep reaching out and asking, which is totally legit. And I understand that. But there's only one of you. So if they
Well, and
keep doing that, there'll be nothing left. You won't be able to help any more people.
and I think many, if not most of them, don't realize how many other people are in the same boat as them. Like, I just want to ask you one question, but there might be 1,000 other people that just want to ask you that one question.
Yeah.
There's you just don't have the energy or the physical time to deal with everybody.
We do change as we age in the profession. Like when I first started, I thought every dog could be saved. And I was very optimistic. Then I think I went through a stage of being a bit more annoyed with people, like, why would you get this dog? And I think I've come to a place of now greater compassion for people. It's my current stage of where I'm at. Like, I understand that they've made errors and now they're in this mess and they're doing everything they can to get out of it. And I think my compassion for the people is probably greater than the compassion for their dog, which says a lot because my compassion for their dog is normally huge.
Yep.
But we go through these different stages. When you have lost your compassion for people or dogs, it's time to leave. That's when you need to start saying, would you like to supersize your fries? Go to a different job. We
Yeah.
have to maintain our compassion for the people and the dogs, or we can't help anyone anymore.
Yeah. Yep. And going back to that, I think it depends on the people whether or not you're going to have compassion for them or the dogs. The people that come in that are just,
Oh, some are useless.
yeah, some are
And by
useless.
useless, I mean no desire to do their homework. They're just going to pay you their
Yeah.
money and give you lip service.
Yeah. They bought the wrong dog. They came to you, they spent the money. They're not doing the work they need to
Yep.
do. Then you have all of this compassion for the dog because you're like, you poor creature. How did you get stuck in this situation? Then there's the flip side where you get the wonderful people that got the dog that turns out to be a horrid dog and they're trying to do everything right. those are the ones you have the compassion for the people, and you're like, oh, how did you get stuck with this horrid dog?
It's been years since I've seen a horrid dog, but
Really?
maybe Wendy's just screening them out.
Yeah. I think I think you might be forgetting some of them too. I remember a few of them.
Oh, I remember one recently. I take it back.
Mhm.
Okay, Wendy's screening them out. Thank you, Wendy. Oh, yeah. I remember 2 recently. I
Yeah,
forgot that one.
they're still there.
The one that you and I dealt with.
Huh? Yep,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
that was the
Okay,
bad one.
I take it back. There's horrible dogs.
Yep.
There's very horrible dogs.
They are fewer. They're few and far between, but there are some dogs when people say it's not the dog, it's how they were raised. That is
Yeah.
not always the case.
No. And
Sometimes they're
one
just wired wrong.
one thing I have learned via Wendy, the nicest people, like the people that she absolutely loves talking to on the phone, like her favorite clients ever, is because they have no boundaries and they bring the worst dogs.
I was gonna say those ones have the worst dogs, don't they?
They do. They really do. Be careful of that. And and because they're such nice people, I'm willing to help them to the end of the earth and back.
Yeah,
But know that for these people, you are a counselor because you have to teach them boundaries and they don't have any.
yeah,
But on the flip of that, though, that's so important. I love when I can do that and actually succeed at it. Sometimes I can't, but if I can, it's a wonderful feeling. I've
yeah,
had women leave marriages, another woman got her driver's license, that kind of thing. Like, dogs can teach us amazing lessons if we're willing to listen.
yeah, absolutely.
But it's not easy lessons. Dogs give us brutal lessons sometimes.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. They're good teachers. They're
Yep,
just not soft teachers.
you get the ones that you need.
Yeah, indeed we do. Anything more on going feral? Because I'm not sure I fully explained that.
I don't think so. I think it's
Is that self-explanatory?
I yeah. I think you explained that quite well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you then.
Alrighty.
Good night, Julie.
Have a good night. We'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.